So we're here at the end of the NOAA conference here in Zurich in wonderful Switzerland with the man himself. Marco, this has been your conference, your dream, your vision, and for us it's been very exciting because you welcomed us as we don't have time, and you're a partner in our endeavor too, and also you put sustainability at the heart of this NOAA conference. From your perspective, do you feel that that message that the world needs to move to sustainability has got across to these startups, to these investors?
I think the world understood that normal people like me, I used to be Wall Street educated, highly alpha male, mostly focused on numbers and money. And with COVID, I changed my life. Maybe Ingmar had a little bit to do with it also. He inspired me.
Ingmar of We Don't Have Time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
No, he inspired me very much when he told me in 2019 that he will come to the conference by train. And I was thinking, why would somebody do that, right? Mm-hmm. So that's when it started with We Don't Have Time. Mm-hmm. And it's very, very, very complex, sustainability. And I think rather than complaining about things, accusing corporations, I wanted to present, with the help of We Don't Have Time, the top 350 climate solutions across the entire IPCC wheel. So from that perspective, I'm very happy for actually 3 reasons. First of all, we got international people to Zurich. Not bad in this terrible time.
That's a miracle in this current time.
71% of the attendees, 1,400 attendees were international. Wow. And then the second, maybe a little more important point, we had 350 investors here. And there are a lot of investors who got rich with the NOAA conference by investing in some of our speakers over the last 12 years. And some of them were asking me, yeah, this environment stuff is great, Marco, but can we make money with it? So for me to get them here and make them listen to like a cyber tracker or a nature metrics or a TerraPulse, I mean, all of these like specialist companies was the objective. So one thing is for sure, people do understand that sustainability needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's clear from many sort of metrics that you know, GDP, if we just allow climate change to rip and completely trash this planet, that GDP will go down. That can't be good for business. But in converse, that actually if we invest in the kind of actions and the kind of businesses and the kind of solutions needed to deal with climate change, we can actually grow economies.
Absolutely.
And so once you internalize that, then I think as a business and as an investor, the future has to be green, right? It can't be anything else. Otherwise, you're going to undercut your profits.
I don't think it's about growth. I mean, I was quite surprised that after COVID, the stock market didn't crash. If you look at the .com crash, and I was already a banker, 99, we had a recession, like a significant recession over several years. Now, what happened in the last potential downturn? It wasn't one, right? The stock markets were flying, and you had like this complete gap. We were the unlucky ones as conference organizers. But I don't think it's about growth at all, actually. I think growth is something which is very abstract. At the end, we have a number of resources, we have molecules, and we're moving them from left and right. Yep. And then there's a little bit of happiness, and then there's some fair distribution, which is clearly not fair. And look, I'm a digital advocate. It's my career. I hosted thousands of speakers, but I'm devastated that digital is used against the planet rather than for the planet. So we have to develop digital tools and we have to collaborate. And that's why conferences are, for me, the starting point. And I want to bring people together who are experts on sustainability and the ones who are hungry to learn. And from that regard, I think that worked quite well. Super. Also, thanks to We Don't Have Time.
Yeah. So, Marco, are you going to do this again next year? Is that the plan?
The only question is, are we waiting to the winter or are we doing it in the summer again?
Yeah, interesting question.
We will do it definitely again in Switzerland. I find Switzerland the easiest location for this conference. You have also all the family offices here. You have a lot of wealth here, great infrastructure, a very open country, very collaborative. So we will do it for sure next year, either once or twice. I guess we are going to wait a little bit what the travel situation is. But look, we are online businesses, right? So while we meet twice a year, we kind of work throughout the entire year. And but the eye-opening thing for me these 2 days were the hundreds of people I spoke with during the epidemic. There's people like Ingmar, probably like 50 times or even more. But there were like 30, 40 people like this. I had these intense discussions because if you really want to find sustainability, you have to be like a Sherlock Holmes. You have to really like a detective going into the details. And there were like 40, 50 people who helped me in various topics. And to see them all here in Zurich, like John from Suriname is staying with me. And that's sustainability is at the moment not in the world. And I'm highly critical of COP, for example, where you had 37 executives and you had no startup directory. I guess we know that the only change in this world is coming through startups. So how can you exclude the startups? There were 2 startups I heard.
Well, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking that maybe, you don't need to do a NOAA conference, as it were, at the COP, but you could do some kind of NOAA-type thing in which you bring, a group of amazing startups to actually expose to the governments and remind them that it's not just about the big corporations that you need to change. You need to encourage the startups with these really funky solutions that are just crying out to help us transform our economies and our societies. I think you could do something in Egypt at the next climate COP. We can talk about that later. We talk with Ingmar about it.
I've been to Egypt when I was 16 because I was dealing with T-shirts, textiles, while I was in high school. And I will never forget. Flew to Egypt and...
did you go to the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens?
No, I just remember I saw these huge, strange things on the left, and I asked the taxi driver, what is it? So these are the pyramids. Oh, these are the pyramids?
Oh, right, okay,
So, no, I've been to Egypt. We want to have, let's call it climate solution data feed, right? Let's say we don't have time and NOAA prepares the top lists of startups addressing certain topics.
Yep.
And then we should feed this as an input. I don't think I qualify for COP, unfortunately.
Well, then we can maybe have a NOAA day on We Don't Have Time from Egypt at the COP, and really expose these startups to those people who are looking for solutions. Because I think a lot of governments, they sit in their ministries and it's a bit hard to actually touch the startups. But I think we can persuade the governments as well to understand.
The problem is that B2B solutions, which are strong and work and usually done by talented people, they work enough for those people to have a great living, but they're not ambitious enough or greedy enough to have a Uber Airbnb type of rollout. So my dream or my vision when I started NOAA Zurich was to bring my old unicorns to Zurich and help like NGOs who have products to become businesses and SaaS companies. And we have to push those through our reach. There's no need to work with an inferior product to calculate carbon sequestration or calculate biodiversity loss. You have to give usage and liquidity to the top products. And there, I think the world goes at the moment the wrongest. We have far too much debates and white paper. We should just shut up and get on with it. One example is RED+. I mean, how ludicrous. You have to be like a triple PhD to know how to calculate the emissions on the forest side. Why? We want nature to be saved. You have 1,200 or 1,500 net zero promises. We added it up. It gets you to 30 billion in value of annual ecosystem. I know there's a lot of, fear that this greenwashing, but it can't be greenwashing when we use tech tools to monitor it, to control it. And that was actually, for me, the key message of the conference. We can't protect what we don't measure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but we need to move on and get these tech solutions not just discussed and presented, or oh, that's so interesting. It's like a gym membership. You know, can we have a gym membership but never go to the gym? But you know all about the equipment, going there is a different story.
Yeah. So, Marco, I think we'll wrap it up here, but with one last thing. You know, at the climate conference in Glasgow, We Don't Have Time was showcasing in an interesting way the numbers that the International Monetary Fund put together on how much the world is still, the governments are still subsidizing fossil fuel through subsidies and payments. We've been running this number since Glasgow. And if we look to the screen here, you see that $602 billion. That's how much money the governments have spent on subsidizing fossil fuels since Glasgow up till now, up till the end of NOAA. So that's only like 3 or 4 weeks.
So how many people ask you who actually signed at the dotted line to make this money flow? You need to expose the politicians who are responsible for this number to grow.
Exactly.
If you just show this number, I guess people are alert of the problem, they understand, but I think what we need is accountability to really achieve sustainability. I'll give you one example. Rainforest loss. Good luck finding corporations by hectare who kind of destroyed what rainforest in the world. This is sensitive data which is not being tracked. You don't have even a land registry database in the world. And I'm hopeful that the climate executive or politicians will establish a kind of data transparency around these topics, because once it's known, once you know all the politicians behind this 600 trillion or a billion, what it was, I think they will think twice if they will sign at the dotted line.
Yeah, we need to call out those people that are basically financing the destruction of our planet, and we need to congratulate those that are doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
Good.
Thank
Marco,
you so much.
Thank you so much indeed. Very nice to see you here in Zurich.
Thank you.